Hello, friends. Thank you for joining us today for our time of devotion. I hope you're doing well, and I'm glad to be with you from the beautiful Ivan Racheff Gardens in Knoxville. It's an urban setting located right next to a factory over this direction. If you hear some buzzing sounds, I tell you, urban settings, I guess we have to compete against urban sounds. But at any rate, we can make a personal space for our spiritual renewal wherever we are by setting our minds and hearts on higher things, can't we? So I'd like to quickly begin with a prayer because the caretaker is going to close the gate here pretty soon. So let me begin with a favorite prayer from the Archbishop of Seville, 7th century. O God, great and wonderful, who has created the heavens, dwelling in their light and beauty, who has made the earth, revealing yourself in every flower that opens, let not our eyes be blind to you, neither let our hearts be afraid, but teach us to praise you, even as the lark which offers her song at daybreak. It's a favorite prayer. And then I've been reading a little bit in a new book that Santa Claus brought me this past Christmas, The Heirloom Gardener. It's a pretty popular book if you enjoy reading about gardens. I'm not a gardener, I'm just one who appreciates gardens, and it gives you a lot of the cultural as well as horticultural history of certain plants or ways of gardening. And so I wanted to just share two quotations with you from this great resource. A quotation by Elizabeth Murray. Gardening is the art that uses flowers and plants as paint and the soil and sky as canvas. And then Aldo Leopold once said, we abuse land because we regard it as a commodity belonging to us, when we see land as a community to which we belong, we may begin to use it with love and respect. Good thought. We are part of this community. In our faith language, we say we're part of God's creation. Now, Sunday, we're going to conclude our sermon series on the blessing of children. And if you've been with us this month, you know the first week we looked at Jesus as a child, the 12-year-old in the temple, and how inquisitive and wise he was, and what we can learn from young people, and what we can learn from Jesus, and how he blesses the space that he visits with his questions and just with his being. And then the second week we looked at the child Samuel and how he developed as a great prophet and servant of God. So we're trying to think of the blessing of children in our communities. So last week Dr. Drew Berkeley was with us, our resident child psychologist, to talk about Joseph and his brothers, a great passage from Genesis chapter 37, and we were thinking about foster care and all adults who give care to children, and how we need to be consistent in our love and discipline and our hope and faith and joy, all those gifts that we can give to children. All right, and so this week we'll be looking at 2 Kings chapter 5, the story of the servant girl from Israel who waited on Naaman's wife, and Naaman was ill with a dreaded skin disease, and her faith led him to his healing. It's a very interesting story if you want to read it. 2 Kings chapter 5, the story of the Israeli servant girl. And so thinking about children and the blessing they are in our lives, and the importance in our communities and in our churches to make room for children, and to make room in our lives to listen to them and to really pay attention to them and their gifts and their abilities, their thoughts and wisdom and joy. That's what I like for us to think about, especially at Trinity, we would like to be blessed with the gift of more children. So may we be very attentive to the responsibilities we have and the gifts that we can share. And so I'd like to share two thoughts that children might think of maybe more than adults from a book I have shared with you often, 99 Blessings by David Steindl-Rast. And one is about the blessing of insects, okay? As I stand here swatting bees and mosquitoes and dragonflies, things. Okay. O Lord, source of all blessings, you bless us with insects, a blessing we do not appreciate when mosquitoes bite us, when flies buzz around our table, or ants get into our food supplies. And yet, may we never cease to marvel at the eyes of bees, the wings of butterflies, the legs of grasshoppers, and may we have deep respect for all these, our older siblings in the family of creatures that enjoy this earth and, like us, breathe this air. All right, and then this other one about children and the questions they ask. O Lord, source of all blessings, you bless us with children's questions, startling, disconcerting, incessant. They pop up like bubbles of wonderment to challenge glib explanations, wide-eyed toes surfacing from the undomesticated depths, and as determined to stay as the frog prince. May I expose myself to these little helpful time bombs, whether offered by children I know or by the child within, and may I treasure their surprise. So I hope you will think about the child within yourselves and the children around us, the wonder, the questions, their ability to learn so quickly. Let's be very careful teachers, and let's be lifelong learners. So I will send the caretaker on his way with appreciation at the Racheff Gardens and invite you to come out here and think about the canvas of the blue sky and the canvas of the soil, and caregivers to our gardens and quiet nature spaces. The hydrangeas are going to seed. Have a good day in God's world, and I hope to see you Sunday. God bless you. Go in peace to love and serve the Lord, and may the peace of Christ be with you. Amen.